Welcome back. New emails reveal Hunter Biden kept his business partners in the know about at least 2 scheduled meetings with then Deputy Secretary of State Antony Blinken. In March of 2015, Hunter emailed Blinken requesting a meeting 13 months after joining the board of Burisma in Ukraine. Once Blinken confirmed the meeting, Hunter then forwarded the email to his business partner, Devin Archer. And then there was another business partner, Eric Schwerin, was CC'd on that email, reminding Hunter of a July 2015 lunch with Blinken. Hunter was frequently emailing Blinken and his wife as well. Blinken also apparently helped to organize the statement from 51 former intelligence officials. We know this from a whistleblower, calling Hunter's laptop Russian disinformation. Texas Congressman Nathaniel Moran joined us earlier in the program to weigh in.
Certainly, where there's smoke, usually there's fire, and we've seen a whole lot of smoke here with Antony Blinken and his connection to the disinformation campaign about the Hunter Biden laptop mess.
Jonathan Turley wrote a great op-ed last week called The Made Men of the Biden Administration. He called Blinken one of those made men. Joining me right now is New York Post columnist, Fox News contributor Miranda Devine, who has written extensively and broken all of the news on this story. Miranda, great to see you. Thanks very much for being here.
Thanks, Maria. Great to be with you.
Yeah, I want to get your take on Antony Blinken. We now know from this whistleblower that he organized that letter to get the 51 spies who lied to lie about the Post's reporting on the Biden laptop. And we know that he was running the Biden Penn Center, the Penn Biden Center at the University of Pennsylvania when it got all that money from China. I'm wondering if Antony Blinken is on the list of those to be investigated by the GOP. What are you hearing?
Yeah, hi, Maria. Definitely. Ron Johnson said as much. Ron Johnson, if you remember, and Chuck Grassley, the Republican senators, actually did interview Antony Blinken back in 2020 for their investigation into Hunter Biden and Burisma. And they quizzed him about that meeting that he had with Hunter Biden when he was Deputy Secretary of State, and he sent somebody downstairs to smuggle Hunter in the back door into his office so that he didn't have to sign in on the official register. We know this from emails on the laptop. Now, Antony Blinken was asked by Johnson and Grassley, what did you speak about? Remember, this is just after Hunter has joined the board of Burisma. Remember, as you just said, Hunter was involving his business partners in this meeting and telling them about it. Clearly, it was important. But Antony Blinken told Johnson and Grassley that it was just a personal meeting and that really all they talked about was Hunter's, the fallout in the family, the grief about Hunter's brother Beau dying of brain cancer. Now, that's difficult to believe. And I think Senator Johnson has said as much, that they'll be hauling Antony Blinken in for more questioning under oath because his role in organising that 51 intel officials' dishonest letter is really something to be seen. It's proof that the Biden campaign did orchestrate it. Antony Blinken then was working for the Biden campaign. It's a very incestuous relationship there.
Yeah.
He would not be Secretary of State today if he hadn't been so involved with the Biden family.
Yeah, and you wonder if the same goes for Jake Sullivan, who is the National Security Advisor. He, too, is being called a made man in the Jonathan Turley piece because he, of course, peddled all the Russia collusion stories for Hillary Clinton when he was in that role. So he and Antony Blinken got huge jobs in the Biden administration after peddling all of these lies. You're calling for the 51 former intelligence officials who signed on to that public statement about Biden's laptop to have their security clearances stripped. Tell us more.
Well, that's the least that should happen to them. It's outrageous that they still have their security clearances now, almost 3 years after they cooked up that political dirty trick. And in fact, this is something that's in train. We already have Timothy Parlatore, who's one of President Trump's lawyers. He has lodged a complaint with the FEC about these 51 intelligence officials and asking that that letter be registered as a donation in kind to the Biden campaign, because, of course, it had a material and corrupt influence on the election outcome. And in that case, if the FEC finds that's the case, they will be fined, and then their security clearances should be revoked by most of them come from the CIA, but by their former agencies, because they make money out of those security clearances.
Yeah, they make money on the security clearances. They make money on their credibility, their resume of being an intelligence official, and they threw it away with the lies, but it worked. Biden used it at the debate. He said 51 intelligence agency says it's disinformation, then that's that. End of story. You have a new op-ed out in the New York Post. You're questioning whether Hunter Biden is actually living at the White House to avoid the drama surrounding his unacknowledged 4-year-old daughter, Navy. Navy Jones Roberts, an Arkansas judge, is ordering him now to appear for an in-person hearing next week for that paternity case, Miranda. What happens here?
Look, that's on Monday, and I think this is beyond just a personal problem. You know, people keep on telling us, leave Hunter Biden alone, he's a private individual. No, what's going to be interesting and important is that Hunter Biden is being ordered to disclose his financial information. He's gone to the court, asked that his child support payments be cut. And so, of course, London Roberts is now cross-suing and demanding to see really where his money is coming from. And I think from there we will see what happened to that 10% stake in the Chinese equity firm BHR that he's not been forthcoming about. His lawyers say is none of our business.
Well, they haven't been forthcoming about a lot. James Comer on Sunday told me he thinks it's up to 12 family members that have been getting money from U.S. adversaries. And he said that there are 6 specific decisions that he's looking at that Biden made either as vice president or as president that could be what he did to get paid for. So we're going to be focused on that, Miranda. Any thoughts?
Yes, and particularly I think China, going soft on China, our greatest adversary, you know, on any fair appraisal of Joe Biden's presidency, you have to say that he has rolled out the red carpet for China by comparison to the Trump administration. And of course, because of all the millions of dollars that have flowed to his family, you have to ask the question, is he compromised? And therefore, that's why these Republican investigations are so important. It's not just a political issue, it's a national security issue.
Absolutely. Miranda, great to get your insights. Thanks very much.